Right now at 5, a motorcyclist who crashed into an ice cream van passes away. And we've been dealing with a pretty loud start to our Friday morning with some strong thunderstorms in the area. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up. And authorities release information about a man who shot himself when he was confronted by police.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. on this finally Friday in the 4 states. I'm Chris Warner. Boy, I got here early because there was that possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms, and thankfully we only had 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and that was back in Washington and Nevada counties very early this morning. Here's a look at what we've got left over though from our overnight storms. They've been moving on off to the east, now rolling through the Springfield area, and we've still got some heavier rain and a couple of flashes of lightning around the Nevada area. But boy, this whole complex, what a light show it is putting on, and what a light show it put on as it rolled through the area. We go back several hours ago, here about 6 hours ago or so, and you can see where it just started. And then, boy, it blossomed very nicely, was briefly severe, and then just was kind of strong as it rolled on through the area. And again, lots of lightning. This isn't our only chance of thunderstorms, though, today. We head into the noon hour. Start to see a few scattered showers out there, and these could blossom into thunderstorms. Some of these, again, could potentially be strong to severe. That breaks up initially, and then we see additional thunderstorm development later this evening in a few different areas, and that could congeal into a little line of storms similar to what we just had as we head later into tonight and this evening, with more strong to severe thunderstorms possible. And then we've got more storm chances as we head through the next 2 or 3 days. So for today's severe threat, now it's a low threat, which is good news, but there is a low-end tornado risk with the storms today, a low-end hail risk and a low-end wind risk. You can see the elevated risk just barely clipping our northern counties. Let's take a quick look outside. MoDOT cameras, we had all 4 of them up during the storms this morning. The light show was just impressive. This is the one at 32nd and Rangeline. Looking back to the north, we're looking all right. And we're looking a lot better from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And a lot better from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Still some lightning from the storms as they've rolled to the east, but otherwise calming down here. We're at 63 in Joplin, east breeze at 3 miles an hour, and you can tell where the rain has been versus where it hasn't. We got 72 Grove, 71 Anderson. I know Grove did get in on some of the rain, but already starting to warm back up. And then you get 65 Chanute, 63 Parsons, Pittsburgh, 64 Lamar. So you can see where that rain's really rolled through, but you can also see once it passes, we start to turn around and warm up again. Going to be a little breezy as we get our morning started, cloudy skies, and then again, these are going to be scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head into the early afternoon, highs pushing near 80, and we go into this evening, we've got temperatures dropping back to the upper 60s, and then of course we'll have those additional shower and thunderstorm chances. And a quick look at your 7-day forecast. More evening storms Saturday, a few scattered storms on Sunday, and a few more storms on Monday, so some more much needed rain, and then temperatures returning to normal by the middle of next week. Well, the motorcyclist in a crash Wednesday involving an ice cream van has now died. The crash happened at 4th and Schifferdecker in Joplin Wednesday afternoon. Authorities say the motorcycle driver, 53-year-old Larry Bellamy, was driving north on Schifferdecker when he hit the side of the ice cream van. Bellamy was taken to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries on Thursday. The van driver was not injured. Authorities say a Chanute, Kansas man suffered self-inflicted gunshot wound when confronted by Joplin police officers in a parking lot. On Thursday, Joplin police were told a man with multiple felony warrants was in a vehicle in the Planet Fitness parking lot. 36-year-old Andrew Hegwald had active warrants out of Neosho County, Kansas for statutory rape and child molestation. Police say as they tried to make contact with Hegwald, he retrieved a handgun and fired 1 round, resulting in the self-inflicted wound. The state of Kansas today decriminalized fentanyl test strips. The strips can be used to detect the presence of fentanyl in other substances. Until now, they had been considered drug paraphernalia and were illegal. Governor Laura Kelly says the decriminalization will help prevent overdose deaths in the state. Oklahoma's governor signed a bill into law on Wednesday decriminalizing the strips in his state. Officials in Kansas City, Missouri on Wednesday took a big step toward making it a sanctuary city for gender-affirming care. It comes after lawmakers at the state level approved legislation restricting that care and banning transgender females from women's sports. Andy Alcock reports.
Most people in a packed council chamber stood and cheered after a council committee voted unanimously to approve a resolution to make Kansas City a sanctuary city for doctors who give gender-affirming care to trans people and their patients. One of them was Marique Jensen.
I think the resolution is a start to a much larger conversation about what accountability and commitment look like for trans Kansas Cityans.
Care for trans people typically involves support for their gender identity, which is different than their biological one. Dr. Molly Eulenlake told council members she's overwhelmed with trans people seeking care, including rural patients seeking help.
The stress, the toxicity of the anti-LGBT legislation that is presented in our state is frankly killing people.
Not everyone supports the resolution. Chris Barrett says most children will work out gender confusion over time without potentially life-altering drugs or surgery.
I have no problem with trans people. That's not my issue. My issue is just leave the kids alone.
I don't think most trans kids have a concept of what trans is. They just know who they are.
And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, another standout signs to play on the collegiate level. We'll have which one coming up in sports, plus the man accused of being the accomplice in the murder of Natalie Holloway is set to be extradited to the U.S. This makes us curious. Are you a lover of true crime stories? And gay and bisexual men are now able to donate blood, all thanks to some changes. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Division II National Tournament for the first time since 2001. The Lions are the 2 seed in the Central Region bracket, and they get to host a regional for the first time in 30 years. Yesterday afternoon, Southern opening the tournament field against Minnesota Duluth. Down 1 in the third, Lions have runners on first and third. Adriana Young draws the throw to second. Throw is high, allows Grace Parrott to come home from third. Just like that, it's a 1-1 game. Southern takes their first lead in the next inning. Emily Perry to left actually goes off the glove and over the fence. Still counts. Solo home run for Perry. Makes it 2-1 Lions. Bulldogs answer right back. Kiana Bender hammers this to right. Solo home run for Bender. Game tied up at 2, and it stayed that way until the final inning. Bottom of the 7th. Somebody told me once, do things right and play hard. Game will pay you back. I think this is one of those times. Second and third for Adriana Young. Grounder to third. Third baseman mishandles the throw. Sydney Hurst scores, and that's it. Lions walk it off. Adriana Young gets the job done. Southern grinds it out to win 3-2.
It's the gritty mindset. It's just, this game is not always going to go your way, but as long as you respect it and as long as you're doing the little things that you're supposed to be doing every day, and that's picking a weed, picking up a piece of trash, taking every rep as a championship rep, just playing the game the right way. The game has done so much for all of us, and we can pay it back.
The MIAA Baseball Conference Tournament is down to just 4 teams. Both Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern were supposed to hit the field yesterday in the semifinals in Warrensburg. But because of the weather, Missouri Southern's game has been pushed back to this morning. Pitt State's game pushed back a little, but they hit the field last night against the tournament's #1 seed, Central Missouri. Bottom of the first, scoreless. 2 on for Vance Tobel, connects for a 3-run home run to left. Central Missouri with an early 3-0 lead after 1 complete. Gorillas answer in the next frame. Brett Daly drops a single into left. Plates Cade Clemens. Pitt State on the board, down just 3-1. But from there, Central gets the bats going and puts the Gorillas away 13-2. Well, the Webb City Cardinals finish up the regular season with an interstate matchup against Frontenac Raiders. These 2 teams have been 2 of the best in the area this season. Webb City 17-13 coming in. Frontenac is 17-2. Bottom of the first, Drew Vonderhaar singles up the middle. Sam Weller scores, 1-0 Cardinals. Then we head to the bottom of the third, 3-0 Webb City. Gage Chapman, he's going to line this one into left field. Christian Brock scores, Webb City with a comfortable now 4-0 lead. Frontenac trying to respond in the later innings. Top of the fifth, Raiders down 4-2. Alex Williams hits this to first base. Little confusion here throwing around the diamond. Lane Sullivan takes advantage of that, run scores. Raiders within one, only down 4-3. Last chance for Frontenac in the top of the seventh. Walker Sweet in to close this out. He gets the strikeout. That's the game. Webb City hangs on to win the border battle over Frontenac 4-3. Well, Galena High School standout Mia Serwinski signs to continue her career in college. Serwinski signs to join the softball program at Crowder. Serwinski is an all-conference and all-state softball player for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, my goal is definitely to continue to work hard, and I definitely want to play at the next level. So just continue to work hard, and whatever leads me there, just trust my path and whatever I do.
Still to come, Italy holds crisis talks over high pasta prices. And we're going to take another look at our next round of thunderstorms when the KOAM Morning News returns. Buy it. We've been up for quite some time, so I'm just trying to keep myself going. We've got Gabe down here in the studio, and we were just talking about these storms that rolled through overnight and the frequency of the lightning. Again, we only had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings for ultimately Washington and Nowata County in northeast Oklahoma. These storms otherwise just strong, but they were putting on a heck of a light show, and they're continuing to do so. Now that they're around the Springfield area, you can see all of those lightning strikes. Just an incredible lightning show. So we go back a few hours and we watch these storms. They fired up very quickly, briefly intensified to severe status, and then they settled down a little bit from severe status, but boy, you wouldn't have known it if you just judged it by lightning. Then they rolled on through. However, we're not done. Here we go, 11:30, around the noon hour, late morning, early afternoon. Additional showers and thunderstorms expected to develop and lift through. Those will pass through. We clear out a bit. We start to warm up. We get muggy. And then we head later into the afternoon and into the evening. And more showers and thunderstorms expected to develop and roll through between about, say, 6 and 10 o'clock tonight across the area. And some of these could be strong to severe. Now, the good news is the overall risk is relatively low, but there is a low-end tornado risk, a low-end hail risk, and a low-end wind risk. And you can see the elevated risks just barely clipping our northern counties. Live look, MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, not nearly as bright and flashy as it was earlier. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And our camera, 7th in range line, has a spider web on it, and so there's a bead of water moving around that makes it look interesting. But otherwise, we're partly cloudy in Joplin, 63, east breeze at 3. And initially, you could see where the rain kind of moved through. However, like we spoke about Grover, they did get some showers, even Miami. Temperatures beginning to warm back up on the backside of this. We got 63 though in Pittsburgh, 64 in Lamar, and 63 Parsons. Could see some gusty winds as we go through the late morning. Temperatures pushing into the mid 70s. We head into the afternoon. We're looking at highs right around 80 or slightly above. And we'll see those scattered thunderstorm chances throughout the afternoon. And then again into the evening, slightly better thunderstorm chances for us. Back into the mid to upper 60s. For overnight lows. And as we look ahead, we have more evening storm chances on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So we definitely need the rain. We could just do without the severe weather. We're going to be in the 80s through the weekend, and then we return to cooler but seasonable temperatures by next week. Well, some sense of relief for the family of Natalie Holloway, the American teenager who disappeared nearly 18 years ago in Aruba. One of the last people to see her alive is being extradited to the United States. Joran Vandersloot is already serving time for murdering a different woman in Peru, now facing extortion and fraud charges in the U.S. Jean Ceres explains how it's all related to Holloway's disappearance.
18 years after Alabama teenager Natalie Holloway vanished on a school trip in Aruba, The prime suspect in her disappearance is being extradited to the United States. Joran Vandersloot, who was one of the last people to see Holloway alive and twice detained in connection with her disappearance, will finally face federal charges in the U.S. for extortion and wire fraud.
He knows exactly what happened. He knows what, where, when, who, why, and how. He knows the answers.
He is accused of extorting thousands from Holloway's mother, Beth, in exchange for details on the location of her daughter's remains. According to legal documents in March 2010, Vandersloot, quote, offered to take the cooperating witness to the location of Natalee Holloway's body, advised as to the circumstances of her death, and identify those in her death and disappearance in return for a payment of $250,000. Papers were signed, a total of $25,000 was given to Vandersloot, and Holloway's attorney flew to Aruba. Vandersloot took the attorney to a house saying her body was buried within the foundation. Soon after fleeing to Peru with the $25,000, he emailed the Holloways saying, quote, he had lied about the location of Natalee's remains. Extortion charges were filed a short time later. In May 2005, the 18-year-old Holloway was last seen leaving a nightclub in Aruba with Vandersloot and two other men. All three were charged by Aruban prosecutors in 2007 for involvement in manslaughter, but a judge ordered their release, citing a lack of direct evidence. Her body was never found. Beth Holloway said in a statement, she would be 36 years old now. It has been a very long and painful journey, but the persistence of many is going to pay off. Together, we are finally getting justice for Natalee. After the U.S. legal proceedings conclude, Vandersloot will be sent back to Peru, according to a statement from Peru's judiciary, to a Peruvian prison where he is serving time for the murder of 21-year-old Stephanie Flores. She was murdered 5 years after Holloway's disappearance. CNN was allowed exclusive access to Vandersloot's cell shortly after his arrest, and in 2012, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison for that murder.
In 2012, an Alabama judge signed an order declaring her legally dead. A Holloway family representative says Vandersloot's extradition is expected to begin yesterday. Vandersloot's lawyer says he will appeal Peru's decision, and that brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you watch or listen to true crime shows or podcasts? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Make sure you vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more gay and bisexual men are able to give blood under new donation rules now in effect. U.S. Food and Drug Administration created new screening questions to reduce the risk of transmitting HIV. All potential blood donors will now be asked the same questions regardless of gender or sexual orientation. Information about sexual partners and current medications will help determine whether someone is eligible to safely donate blood. It is Lung Cancer Action Week. The American Lung Association hopes to raise awareness for the leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. Stephanie Stahl introduces us to a man who is battling the disease.
Aaron Hawkins has run in 46 marathons and is proud to show off his hardware.
These are my marathon medals.
The 47-year-old is the picture of health, but that didn't keep him from getting lung cancer.
I was never a smoker, but that doesn't preclude you from getting lung cancer.
And what do they attribute this to?
They really don't know.
Doctors say there are a growing number of young people like Aaron being diagnosed. While smoking remains the main cause of lung cancer, radon exposure and pollution also increase the risk. For Aaron, the spot on his lung was found incidentally during a cholesterol screening.
My story would be completely different if I got diagnosed a year later.
If lung cancer is caught early, it can be treated and sometimes cured.
Dr. Albert Rizzo with the Lung Association says the problem is there usually are not symptoms early, and screenings are only offered for smokers. If there aren't any symptoms, how do you find it early?
Really, there's no good screening for it. So it's a gap in our research and a gap in knowledge.
Aiming to close that gap, buildings are being illuminated in turquoise this week to raise awareness during Lung Cancer Action Week.
Lung cancer is still the #1 cause of cancer death for both men and women.
That's partly because millions who are eligible for screenings don't get them, but survival rates for lung cancer have increased 25% because of improved treatments.
I'm a lucky one because I caught it early.
Aaron had surgery and is back to running, now a Lung Force hero on the front lines fighting the leading cancer killer. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
To learn more about how to keep your lungs healthy, as well as information about lung disease, you can visit lung.org. That's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And our morning showers and storms slowly exiting the area after giving some of us a rude wake up. We'll take a look at our storm chances later today and the weekend when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, some Carthage grads take a walk down memory lane.
We had ourselves a pretty loud start to our Friday morning, and we're not done with those storm chances yet. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
And the American Rehabilitation Ministry Prison Outreach celebrates 50 years.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we had some pretty good thunderstorms this morning. They wake you up, or do you sleep through these things?
I'm able to sleep through them.
See, I've been getting to that point.
Where like my bed is positioned near the window, I made a change so that I could.
I got you. Well, I know many folks probably wouldn't have been able to. There was a lot of electrical activity with these storms, and so that's why we came in early this morning. Keep an eye on them for you. The good news is they're on their way out, and we only actually had 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and those were for Washington and Newada counties. And as these storms continue to move out, we've got the Skywatch Storm Tracker. There we go. Sometimes you have to say the magic words. It's voice-activated technology. Bet you guys didn't know that. You didn't. Now you do. So these storms on their way out, but still, look at this around Springfield. Look at all these lightning strikes. And this system was just lighting up as it rolled through the area. So again, briefly severe, strong after that. We had some small hail and gusty winds, but the big thing out of this was just all that lightning. And we've got more of that on the way. We head into this afternoon, even the late morning, we could see another batch of showers and thunderstorms roll through the area. And these could be strong, possibly severe. So we're going to keep an eye on that for you. Then we go into the later afternoon hours, early evening. Here comes another round of showers and thunderstorms, which again could potentially be strong, possibly low-grade severe, and these will kind of circle through the area. In fact, I mean, the way the future track's playing, it looks almost like what just rolled through this morning. And then by about 10 o'clock or so, that's out of here, and then we head into Saturday morning, and Saturday's our next chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially in the evening. Now, our overall severe risk is very low, but we do have a low-end tornado threat, as well as a low-end hail and wind risk, and the elevated risks just barely clipping our northern counties. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, not nearly as much lightning. The same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, and as well as our camera at 7th in range line. Still wet out there, rain just on its way out. We're at 63 in Joplin, east breeze at 3. Quick look at temperatures around the area: 63 Lamar, Carthage, and Fort Scott, 64 Pittsburgh, 67 in Miami. And we get our morning started. Could be a little bit on the gusty side, mostly cloudy skies, and into the mid-70s by late morning. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, some workers from a local real estate company volunteered to clean up a trail in Joplin on Thursday. Frisco Greenway Trail in Joplin got a major cleanup by local Keller Williams volunteers on their Red Day, as they decided to help and donate $5,000 for the Joplin Trails Coalition to work on the trail. Volunteers helped with projects such as extending and outlining the parking lot, trimming branches, building a handicapped accessible bridge, and installing a guardrail. Volunteers hope trail users notice the changes.
I hope they see that the canopy is opened up a little bit, that it's a little bit easier for them to walk and run without having to dodge low-hanging limbs, and just see that, you know, this is a place that we live. We want to keep it beautiful, and that people put a lot of hard work and dedication into it.
See a lot of people.
The Joplin Trails Coalition President Bob Hurst says a day like this speeds up the trail maintenance by years. Mother's Day is this weekend, and Watered Gardens Ministries is celebrating moms and kids with their 3rd annual Blooms of Hope. It's a potted plant and flower sale conducted by the ministry moms to celebrate our moms. Proceeds go towards benefiting the Washington Family Hope Center, and now they're looking to renovate the center.
Of renovating the upstairs at Washington Family. We got the first floor done and we opened this campus in 2020, and we had it filled. We had 6 family units on the first floor. They were filled within the first month. And then we began having so many moms requesting the opportunity to stay, we had to turn them away. Over 100 of them we had to turn away in a 7-month period. So we knew we needed to get the upstairs done.
Second floor hopes to add 8 to 9 units. Northeastern Oklahoma A&M College seniors graduated on Thursday, and for many it was like any other graduation commencement. But for nursing students, Thursday's events had an extra flair. The school hosted a pinning ceremony for graduating nurses. It marks an important milestone in their journey to become fully registered nurses, and for one graduate, it's more than just a job.
For the money, it pays good, but honestly, the most important part, it's rewarding. This is my outlet to help people. I've always enjoyed helping people, and there's so many different ways to do it, and the best way I know how is to help others through.
Pinning ceremony is a tradition for nursing school graduates dating back to the 12th century. On Thursday, some Carthage graduates took a trip down memory lane. Graduates walked through the halls of the elementary school they attended and said hello to some kindergartners. The walk could also have a deeper meaning for some of the graduates.
We think this is a really great tradition that Carthage has, to have these graduates come back, walk through the halls of the elementary schools one more time, get that last bit of closure for Carthage School District as they step forward into what life has to offer for them.
The walk only lasted around 10 minutes, but it's a walk that the kids and graduates can remember forever. The American Rehabilitation Ministry Prison Outreach in Joplin celebrates 50 years of service. To celebrate, they held an open house to show their facilities. Organization provides religious services to prisoners, such as Bibles and offering Bible studies.
Personal programs. We reach them through our Bible Academy. We also have, over these 50 years, sent out 3 million plus greeting cards to the prisoners. If I had a second life to live, I would come right back into prison ministry again.
The ministry is at 3605 North Main Street in Joplin. Well, this morning we're discussing true crime.
18 years after Alabama teenager Natalie Holloway vanished on a school trip in Aruba, the prime suspect in her disappearance is being extradited to the United States. Joran Vandersloot, who was one of the last people to see Holloway alive and twice detained in connection with her disappearance.
He will finally face federal charges in the U.S. for extortion and wire fraud. He's accused of extorting thousands from Holloway's mother, Beth, in exchange for details on the location of her daughter's remains.
That brings us to our question for you. Do you watch and or listen to some of those true crime shows and podcasts? So far, 33% of you say that you do. 67% say that you don't. I'll be honest, especially when I was growing up, you'd stay home from school. Sometimes that was all it was on TV, and they become very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many options out there, especially when it comes to podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not a podcast guy myself, but there are just so many options in this digital age available to you.
That's right. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, Minnesota man finds joy in mowing lawns.
Plus, the Pakistan Supreme Court declares the arrest of a former prime minister illegal. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from In the Garden in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Topping World Watch, dozens of firefighters are on the scene of a large fire following an explosion in central Milan. According to fire officials, a truck transporting oxygen cylinders caught fire and spread to two nearby vehicles before setting several buildings alight in the Porta Romana area of Milan. One of the burning buildings is a pharmacy, and one person is reportedly injured. Several people have been injured in an explosion that took place at a high-rise apartment building in Germany. The explosion took place in the city of Rattingen West. Police officers are among the injured. Italy's government convened crisis talks in Rome on Thursday to investigate surging prices for the country's national dish. Pasta was 17.5% more expensive in March compared to a year earlier. That's more than double Italy's CPI, which stands at 8.1%. And the surge is happening despite the price of wheat, the main ingredient, falling in recent months. Saudi Arabia confirms that Sudan's warring parties have signed a declaration of commitment. According to a statement by Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry, the declaration follows talks that were held in Jeddah. It is, however, not a ceasefire, but rather a document of intent. The ministry added the talks will now focus on ensuring a 10-day ceasefire. Wildfires are raging across Russia. The fires ravaging large swaths of land in Siberia and the Urals. Thousands of structures have been destroyed by the flames. Russian state news agency TASS reports 21 people have died as a result of the fires in the Ural Mountains. Firefighters have put out 16 fires. 30 are said to be contained. More than 4,100 people and 570 pieces of equipment have been involved in the fight against the blazes. And former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan is a free man. Pakistan's Supreme Court ordered his release 2 days after his arrest sparked violence across the country. The Supreme Court's Chief Justice also asked Khan to issue an appeal to his supporters to remain peaceful. Khan had been ousted from power in a no-confidence vote by lawmakers. He faces multiple corruption charges in Pakistani courts. His supporters were seen dancing in the streets near the court, celebrating the news of his release. And a man opens fire at a Mercedes-Benz factory in Germany, killing at least 2 people. The shooting occurred in a city near Stuttgart. Cops apprehended a 53-year-old man and took him into custody. Police tweeted there was no further danger to the employees at the plant. The suspect's motive and identity have not been made public. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:46 on a finally Friday. And boy, I imagine a few of you probably been awake for a couple of hours after these loud thunderstorms rolled through. They are now well off to our east, still putting on quite a light show. And that was the thing. We only had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, and that was back in Washington and Nowata counties. Outside of that, these storms were strong, gusty winds and small hail, but they weren't severe. They just put on an incredible light show, and you can see all of that lightning with these storms, very electrical storms as they rolled through the area. And that's not our only round of thunderstorms. We're looking at 10 o'clock this morning. So this, again, the computer models pull in new data all the time. And this updated since earlier this morning. It's got some scattered showers and thunderstorms now in parts of southeast Kansas as early as 10 o'clock this morning, with some additional development possible by 11 rolling through the area. This round of storms could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. So, of course, we'll be here to keep an eye on that for you. That moves on out of here pretty quickly. Then we head later into the evening, and we get another round of strong, possibly severe thunderstorms to roll through. But again, it rolls through pretty quickly as well. Here we are at 9 o'clock, already starting to skedaddle, and then it's gone. Isolated showers early Saturday morning, and then as we head later into the day on Saturday, that's when we've got better chances of scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head into Saturday afternoon and into the evening hours. We're not looking at any severe weather at this point with these storms, but we will still see some additional much-needed rainfall. And the one benefit of thunderstorms is the fact that they can dump heavier amounts of rain for us, as long as they don't lead to severe weather or flash flooding. Our severe threat today, again, is relatively low. but it is there. And as such, we do have a low-end tornado risk for a good chunk of the area. Low-end hail risk for the whole area, as well as a low-end wind risk. And you can see, again, the elevated risk areas hanging out to our north. All right. 32nd in range line, the MoDOT camera there looking great earlier. Boy, it was lighting up like a Christmas tree. All of these cameras were. And KDOT camera at 69 and 400 also looking good. Road's still pretty wet. We got a nice good soaking rain with those storms this morning. And you can see still damp out there. So again, remember, pavement can be slick when it's wet. So just slow down, be cautious. We're sitting at 63 in Joplin with an east breeze at 3 miles an hour. Watching these storms continue to clear on out of here. And as mentioned, you can see where some of the rain was. However, places like Miami, Chetopa, Veneta, and Newata that did see that rain, temperatures already warming back behind all of this activity. You got 64 in Pittsburgh, 63 Lamar, Parsons, 65 in Chanute, and again, a little warmer down there already, 71 Veneta and 74 in Grove. So we get our morning started. Could see some gusty winds here and there outside of any thunderstorms, and then possibility a few scattered storms building in by late morning, mid-70s. We head into the afternoon, temperatures 80 degrees, maybe a few degrees over that, so another warm one, and then those showers and thunderstorms kind of clearing out of here by about 1, 2 o'clock. That'll leave us partly cloudy skies and again fairly mild conditions. Then we head into this evening and we'll see the return of shower and thunderstorm chances, and as mentioned, some of those could be strong to severe. Our overnight lows into the upper 60s. Got evening storm chances again tomorrow. Evening storm chances on Mother's Day in the 80s. Upper 70s Monday, more storm chances, so plentiful, much needed rain chances out there. And then we kick off the rest of next week, cooler but closer to average. We'll be back with more after this, but first, we got another live look from In the Garden in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Let's face it, mowing the lawn is a chore that most people don't like to do. However, there is one man in Minnesota who loves to do it. Megan Simple shares his story.
A familiar sound to Ken Kramer.
When I started in 2000, I had like 7 lawns, and right now I got 44.
He's built his own very small business over the years, mowing lawns, including 4 cemeteries. He's enlisted some family help along the way. While he does all the mowing, his daughter helps with trimming and his wife does the accounting. Kramer works from sun up to sundown.
This cemetery here in Byron takes me about 3.5 hours to mow it, and then it takes us about 3 hours to trim it. In May and June, usually once a week, and all of them are once a week.
Over the years, he's tried to hire help.
I've tried to hire some younger kids to do the trimming, and it don't work. And I'm not saying that there's not kids out there that no hard work. There's a lot of them, but they're starting to get farther and fewer between.
Kramer says he's fine doing it all on his own.
It's just gratifying to do stuff for people.
Any advice to anyone who may not be doing their passion right now?
Just go for whatever you like to do and try and do your best at it.
As for how long Kramer's mower blades will keep turning, well, that's up in the air.
And as long as I'm able-bodied and healthy enough to do it, I'm going to do it.
Wonder if he'd be interested in making that 45 lawns a week. Just kidding. It's always a good thing to find something that you like to do, even if it is mowing the lawn. We'll be right back. Well, a mother's love knows no bounds, and that rings true for birds, too. This female osprey was pelted by hail during a storm in Colorado Tuesday night. Boulder County Parks and Open Space host a camera that live streams the bird's nest and captured this video. As pea-sized pellets of hail piled up around her. You can see her shielding her eggs, though. The mama bird's efforts were successful, and she and the eggs are just fine. Wildlife officials expect the eggs to hatch in a few weeks. Wow. Well, just in time for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the children's show Sesame Street has welcomed its first Filipino character. Meet TJ. He's the program's latest Asian American Muppet. Filipino-American animator Bobby Pontias based TJ on two of his friends' kids. Pontias wrote on Instagram that he and Sesame's Workshop's creative director of character design collaborated on the character. Puppeteer and performer Yunan Shintu is the voice for TJ. Korean-American character Ji Young was introduced on Sesame Street in 2021.
We'll get a break from the showers and storms before we see more of them by late morning into the early afternoon. We're up to the mid-70s. Some of these storms this afternoon could be strong, low-grade severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. They'll stop at about 1, 2 o'clock, then we'll be left with partly to mostly cloudy skies, temperatures pushing into the lower 80s. Then we head into this evening and we see another round of showers and thunderstorms, roughly between, say, 7 and 10 across the area, and some of those could be strong to severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. Back down into the upper 60s for our overnight lows. Evening storms again on Saturday, as well as Mother's Day, as well as Monday. Temperatures 80s, upper 70s, and then we get to the partly cloudy skies for a little bit. Temperatures cooler, but back to normal. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right now at 6, lawmakers in the Sunflower State move to decriminalize fentanyl test strips in an attempt to save lives.
After a rocky start to our Friday morning, skies much calmer, but they're not going to remain that way. We'll have a look at our next round of storms coming up.
Watered Gardens in Joplin host their 3rd annual Blooms of Hope event just in time for Mother's Day.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 o'clock, almost 6:01 on this finally Friday in the 4 states. We made it. We've made it through the storms this week. We've still got a few more to get through today, and we've got some more rain as we head into the weekend. Now, granted, again, all of this is much needed rain. We haven't needed the severe weather that's come along with it. Now, this morning's round of thunderstorms, I know with all that lightning, you would certainly think that they had to be severe, but in all honesty, we only had 2 warnings. That was Washington and Nevada counties early this morning. The rest of this, strong storms. We were talking gusty winds and some small hail, but they weren't severe, just producing a ton of electricity, which they continue to do. Just look at all those lightning strikes as this batch of storms rolled through the area. Now again, this isn't our only batch of storms. We've got a few more hours, say about 3 or 4, before we'll see additional showers and thunderstorms developing between about 9, 10 o'clock this morning across southeast Kansas, and more expected to develop off of that as we head toward 11 and noon. Some of those storms could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Then we'll clear out again. And some of us out west will see a little more sunshine, so you may push the mid to upper 80s while the rest of us are in the lower 80s. Then we head into the afternoon. Here comes round 3, technically for today, of additional shower and thunderstorm development between about 6 and 7, and these will roll through the area, and those should be out of here by about 10, 11 o'clock tonight. And we could still see a couple of scattered showers heading into Saturday morning, but our next round of storms comes Saturday evening. But again, this evening storms could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. Now again, the threat for severe weather is low, but it's there. So we have a low-end tornado risk for the majority of the area, and then a low-end hail and wind risk, and that elevated risk just barely clipping our northern counties. Live look at the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line. We are looking much better than what we were this morning. Same with the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, and all that lightning on those different cameras was just an absolute impressive show to see. We got mostly cloudy skies, 64 in Joplin, variable breeze at about 4. We look at temperatures around the region. We've got 64s in Nevada, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 69 Miami, 63 Parsons, and 62 in Neodesha. And again, as we get our morning started, could be a bit breezy as well outside of any thunderstorms, but then we'll see those showers and thunderstorms late morning and into the early afternoon. Highs pushing for the most part into the lower 80s. And then we'll get a break from the activity before that next round moves in this evening. We'll take another look at your forecast, including how the weekend is shaping up and Mother's Day here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right. All right, thanks, Chris. On Thursday, the state of Kansas decriminalized fentanyl test strips. The strips can be used to detect the presence of fentanyl in other substances. Until now, they had been considered drug paraphernalia and were illegal. Governor Laura Kelly says the decriminalization will help prevent overdose deaths in the state. Oklahoma's governor signed a bill into law on Wednesday decriminalizing the strips in his state. Authorities say a Chanute, Kansas man suffered self-inflicted gunshot wound when confronted by Joplin police officers in a parking lot. It happened on Thursday. Joplin police were told a man with multiple felony warrants was in a vehicle in the Planet Fitness parking lot. 36-year-old Andrew Hedgewald had active warrants out of Neosho County, Kansas for statutory rape and child molestation. Police say as they tried to make contact with Hedgewald, he retrieved a handgun and fired one round, resulting in the self-inflicted wound. The motorcyclist in a crash Wednesday involving an ice cream truck has now died. The crash happened at 4th and Schifferdecker in Joplin Wednesday afternoon. Authorities say the motorcycle rider, 53-year-old Larry Bellamy, was driving north on Schifferdecker when he hit the side of the ice cream truck. Bellamy was taken to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries on Thursday. The van's driver was not injured. The rule that allowed the U.S. to swiftly expel migrants due to the pandemic known as Title 42 has expired. The Biden administration has announced a set of policies aimed at quickly reducing the tens of thousands of migrants who are seeking asylum. But those plans face new legal roadblocks. Jared Hill has the latest this morning.
Overnight, a federal judge in Florida temporarily blocked the Biden administration's policy of releasing some migrants without court notices, an effort to reduce crowding in Border Patrol facilities. The order took effect at the same time Title 42 expired. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol says it will comply with the ruling, which it also says will lead to unsafe overcrowding as the agency faces an unprecedented swell of migrants along the southern border.
Upwards of 60,000 migrants we project are staging in and around the immediate border areas.
Alejandro Gonzalez from Venezuela is one of them. He says, "We lost everything. We have nothing. We are here in faith that they will let us in." Meanwhile, the ACLU and immigrant rights groups have filed a lawsuit to block new Biden administration rules that would restrict migrants from seeking asylum if they have not applied online or through another country first. Cities along the southern border have added National Guard troops and increased police presence to manage some of the uncertainty surrounding the end of Title 42. Members of the Texas National Guard laid barbed wire at El Paso's border with Mexico.
All we can do is we can stand in their way.
The growing migrant crisis also reaches far beyond the southern border to cities like Chicago, New York, and D.C., where the governor of Texas continues to send migrants by the busload. Jared Hill, CBS News, El Paso.
Federal judge's ruling in Florida expires in 2 weeks in order to allow the Biden administration time to seek an emergency stay. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security has responded to the ACLU's lawsuit, saying the administration has, quote, led the largest expansion of lawful pathways in decades, and that proposed rules to reduce the number of asylum seekers are critical to creating an orderly process. Well, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, this weekend is a Mother's Day weekend, and Water Gardens Ministries is celebrating moms and kids with their third annual Blooms of Hope. It's a potted plant and flower sale conducted by the ministry moms to celebrate our moms. Proceeds go towards benefiting the Washington Family Hope Center. Center has housed moms and kids seeking shelter, but they've been full since opening in 2020. And now they're renovating to bring a second floor to the center.
When we have an event like Blooms of Hope that's directly having the contributions go toward the Washington Family Hope Center, folks can know when I get a gift for mom, I'm also helping other moms who are trying to get to a better state in life.
Second floor hopes to add 8 to 9 units. Currently, there are 6 units. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, residents in one Texas town mourn the loss of a police officer killed in the line of duty. Plus, one mother can expect to have an extra special Mother's Day after her son underwent an organ transplant that he received from his sibling. And Chris returns with another look at your forecast and whether the 4 states can expect another round of storms this Mother's Day weekend. You're watching news, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. First, here's another look from In the Garden in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Thursday, the Department of Justice asked a judge to put on hold Trump's deposition as part of Peter Strzok's lawsuit. The deposition was scheduled to take place on May 24th, but the Justice Department wants FBI Director Christopher Wray deposed before Trump, claiming Wray's testimony could remove the need for Trump's deposition. Strzok is suing the DOJ over his 2018 termination from the FBI after it was revealed he exchanged anti-Trump text with a top lawyer at the Bureau. Former top counterintelligence official claims he was improperly terminated. Central Texas community is mourning the death of a local police officer. Cameron is a small town in Milam County, which is about an hour and a half northeast of Austin. Adela Uchida explains what we know so far about the investigation.
Cameron police are expected to have a press conference tomorrow to release the officer's identity and other information. In the meantime, the small town of Cameron is in shock. News of the shooting started spreading in the small town of Cameron as soon as it happened Wednesday night.
I initially heard about it last night.
What Angel Rios told CBS Austin.
I just heard it was a domestic dispute, and that then the officers went to go look for the guy, and then a shooting happened, and that's all I've really heard so far about it.
Is confirmed by the Milam County Sheriff's Office. The suspect was shot and killed while the Sheriff's Office, Cameron Police, and other agencies tried executing a search warrant following a shooting involving the suspect's spouse. A Cameron police officer hit in the crossfire was taken by ambulance to the hospital where he died from his injuries. The Texas Rangers are now investigating.
And, even though we had a shooting, it is still a safe town.
It's the kind of tragedy Cameron, population 5,306, almost never sees.
Yeah, you pretty much know almost everyone. Grew up with a lot of the same people.
Lester May
Got away from the crime down there.
Moved to Cameron from Houston decades ago.
Shocked, but not real surprised, because there's always somebody that wants to do something stupid.
But even as the town learns more about the tragedy,
It's a little crazy, a little sad to hear. It's not, you hear it in big cities, but not in a small town.
it hasn't changed how safe they feel.
Lots of people probably don't lock their doors. And it is a boring town to live in for people from the city.
The officer's body was released from the hospital this morning and funeral arrangements are underway.
That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are much calmer now after that stormy start to our finally Friday across the area, but we are not done with thunderstorms yet. We're going to take another look at that forecast coming up. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:17 on this finally Friday across the 4 states, and it was a loud start to our Friday across the region as we had this batch of showers and thunderstorms roll through. Now, as intense as the lightning was, the only 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, the only 2 warnings period, were for Washington and Nevada County when these storms first began. After that, they were still strong. There were some gusty winds and small hail, but they didn't reach severe status as they rolled through the area. So look at just all of that lightning, though. There was so much intense lightning with these storms as they pushed on through the area. And now, of course, they are making their way on out of here. And that's setting the stage for round 2 and round 3 of thunderstorms as we head into later today. So let's talk about that. First, these computer models, they pull the latest information every so often from the latest forecast data, and they throw it in here. This one updated about an hour ago and has now moved up some scattered thunderstorm chances to say between 9 and 10, beginning to develop over parts of southeast Kansas. So from Coffeyville, Parsons, just outside of Girard. These storms could be strong, possibly low-grade severe, and it's expecting more to develop along a little line from Fort Scott back toward Joplin, Neosho, and Anderson. And again, these could be strong to severe. This is 11 o'clock. We go to noon, and you can see beyond that and to 2, these storms move out of here pretty quickly, but they do leave some cloud cover behind. But those of us out west won't see as much cloud cover today. Could push the mid to even upper 80s. The rest of us, though, we're looking low, maybe mid 80s. Then we head later into today, and you can see the cloud cover holding on roughly from Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Galena, Miami, Grove, and back to the east, and then we're clear to the west of that. So that's why you're going to get a little warmer, but that's also going to allow for the next round of thunderstorms to develop out that way first into that sunshine. And here we are at 7. We've got another line of showers and thunderstorms. Again, could be strong, possibly low-grade severe, and this will push through the area overnight. Here we are at 9 o'clock, right along the I-49 corridor. And by 10 or 11, they are out of here. Heading into Saturday morning, a stray shower or two absolutely possible, but I think most of us will be dry. We'll spend the majority of our day partly to mostly cloudy, and then as we head into the evening, say between about 5 and 7, we'll see additional shower and thunderstorm development across the area. So again, all this much needed rain, and we absolutely need this rain. We just need to not have so much severe weather to go with it. Tomorrow, not looking at any strong to severe storms at this time, but of course if that changes, we will let you know. These will then be out of here by late evening on Saturday, and then we'll see some additional thunderstorms on our Mother's Day. Now, our severe threat for today is very low, but we do have a low-end tornado risk across a good portion of the area, and then the whole area with a low-end hail risk and a low-end wind risk, and those elevated risks just barely clip in our northern counties. Any of the more severe storms are expected to stay to our north and to our south, but we could still see a strong or low-grade severe storm as we head into the afternoon. Live look from the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line. Boy, it was lighting up real good earlier. Otherwise, now just showing us cloudy skies, roads progressively beginning to dry out. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh. And as we look at our camera at 7th and Range Line, we've got those wet roads out there for sure. They're starting to dry. We're 64, obviously, mostly cloudy skies, and a variable breeze at about 4 out there. Looking around the region, where that rain fell is still somewhat visible here, but again, starting to warm up outside of that now. We're getting past the rain. We're at 64 Pittsburgh, Parsons, Chanute, 63 Neodesha. Then we have 70 in Veneta, 72 Grove, 69 Miami, 67 in Neosho, and 71 in Anderson. So still starting to warm up. As we take a look at the rest of our morning, again, we could be breezy outside of thunderstorm chances. We'll start to see some of those scattered thunderstorms moving in later into the morning. Temperatures making it to the mid-70s. We go into the afternoon, again, low to mid-80s for most of us. Out to the west, maybe mid to even upper 80s. Those thunderstorms clear out. Round 3 comes in later this evening and drops our lows back into the upper 60s. And again, those are storms that we'll keep an eye on for you. We're going to stay into the 80s through the weekend with those evening thunderstorm chances, maybe a few daytime scattered ones Mother's Day. More storm chances on Monday in 77. After that, though, we go to partly cloudy skies for a bit, and temperatures, although they're cooler, return to what they're supposed to be for this time of year. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, fewer teens are ending up in emergency rooms for mental health conditions, suicide-related behaviors, and drug overdoses. From the fall of 2021 to 2022, the CDC found a drop in ER visits by young people ages 12 to 17. Concerns remain, particularly for teen girls who experience these conditions and behaviors at higher rates than boys. Researchers at UNC have found a way to reach women who often do not have annual screenings for cervical cancer. They saw screening rates doubled among low-income women who were mailed testing kits they could use at home compared to those just offered scheduling assistance for an in-office appointment. Most cervical cancers occur among underscreened women. And a new review of data by the British Policy Institute Cochrane shows stressed out healthcare workers may benefit from cognitive behavioral therapy, yoga, and relaxation. Researchers found such interventions led to improvements in how people cope with stress up to a year later. Well, this is a special Mother's Day for a mom in New York. Her family was forced to make a tough decision when her son was in desperate need of an organ transplant. Michael George shows us how two siblings went into surgery together and came out closer than ever.
For the Castro family, this Mother's Day means so much more. For years, Tara's son Zach was suffering from primary sclerosing cholangitis, a potentially deadly liver disease.
I was just very fatigued, lethargic. I was jaundiced, my skin, my eyes were yellow, my legs were swollen.
In October, doctors told Zach he'd need a liver transplant. And the best match in the family, his big sister, Kayla. She says she didn't hesitate to volunteer.
It's just what I knew I had to do.
For their mom, Tara, it meant both of her children undergoing a serious procedure.
I was definitely afraid, but I have to say, too, I was more excited for the outcome because I knew that it was going to give Zachary a second chance in life.
A team of more than 20 at Mount Sinai performed the all-day operation, simultaneously removing a large section of Kayla's liver and transplanting it to Zach.
The liver is remarkable. It will grow to the size that he needs and the size that she needs.
Dr. Sandy Florman, director of Mount Sinai's Transplant Institute, says the procedure was a complete success for both Kayla and Zach.
Zachary should be able to live his entire life with this piece of liver. People who have transplants can go on to literally do anything you can imagine.
Zach says he's more alive and energetic than he's felt in years, and he's pursuing his dream of becoming a court officer, and he has his big sister to thank.
I'm very grateful for her. She's a lifesaver. She saved my life.
And their relieved mom says she's proud of the children she raised.
Both of them, they're just resilient. And just to even see them both, my son was up walking, the next day. He was a fighter.
A Mother's Day with the whole family together and healthy. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
What a wonderful story. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And as we head into the rest of our day, we're going to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms developing by late morning, and some of those could be strong, low-grade severe. We'll keep an eye on it for you. We'll also be breezy outside of any thunderstorm chances, at least through the early morning or through the late morning hours. Mid-70s by about 11 o'clock. Highs today, for the most part, lower to mid-80s, but out west where you see a little more sunshine, you could make the mid to upper 80s. The initial round of thunderstorms this afternoon, so technically round 2, will clear out by about 2 o'clock, and we'll warm up and be under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Then we'll head into this evening, and between roughly, say, 7 and 11, we'll see another round of showers and thunderstorms, and some of those could also be strong to severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. We're heading for overnight lows in the upper 60s. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right now at 6:30, springtime in the 4 states means it's time to hit the trails. KOAM's Yana Hadula takes us to Joplin, where one local business wants to make sure some of those trails look good for visitors.
And after a warm and rocky start to our Friday, we are headed for a couple more rounds of showers and thunderstorms. We'll take a look at that coming up.
Graduates in Carthage get to take one last look back before heading into their future.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we had a number of thunderstorms roll through the area, and these suckers developed pretty quickly. I checked before I headed out the door, so it was 11:45, and it was just one little cell out there. And by the time I got here, we had ourselves a pretty decent looking line of storms. Now that line of storms has now shifted well to our east, now southeast of the Springfield area. So no longer a threat for us, and it's beginning to just wrap up a few showers on our side. But when it came through, we only had 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and that was for Washington County and into Nowata County when this all started. And as it expanded, that actually reduced its ability to become severe. It's still strong strong. We had some gusty winds, we had some small hail, but the biggest factor with this thing was the lightning as it rolled through here. There was a lot of it early this morning, and we have more of it coming later this morning. Right now, we're looking at some scattered showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop between about 9-10 o'clock out in southeast Kansas from Coffeyville, Parsons, just outside of Girard. And as we go to 11, more showers and thunderstorms expected to develop right along the I-49 corridor on the Missouri side. And these could be strong, maybe low-grade severe, so we'll keep a close eye on this for you. By the time we hit 1-2 o'clock, that second round of storms is out of here. And in fact, we'll even do some clearing out to the west. So some of us in our western counties could reach the mid to upper 80s for highs, while the rest of us stay cloudy and into the low to mid 80s. But that allows additional thunderstorm development in southeast Kansas. And that turns into another line of showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong, possibly severe. That'll roll through here. So that's 7. Here we are by 9. And then we head overnight, and then those storms pretty much wrap up. Now, we do have that low-end severe threat today. It's low, but it's there. We have this low-end tornado risk across the area, a low-end small hail risk, and a gusty wind risk as well, with the elevated stuff staying to our north. We'll have more on your complete forecast and how the weekend is shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, some workers from a local real estate company participated in a trail cleanup in Joplin. KOAM's Yana Dula took a look at the volunteer event and has more from the trail.
Despite this rain, some Keller Williams workers take their time to volunteer for the Joplin Trails Coalition by doing a major cleanup here at the Frisco Greenway Trail in Joplin. Joplin Trails Coalition President Bob Herbst says the real estate company on their volunteer Red Day provides around $5,000 in total for materials and donations.
This is speeding up maintenance by years. Just the material that they're donating would have taken us, a couple years to have the money to do that. And all of the volunteers that they're providing is allowing us to be able to do a lot of work in just a short amount of time.
Projects include building a bridge for handicapped users, laying gravel, installing a guardrail, and trimming hanging branches. Keller Williams volunteers say the trails are important to them.
I do enjoy walking on the trails, and then my son actually has a mountain bike, and so he goes on a lot of the trails off of the trail.
The rain did not stop workers.
I think it makes it more fun. Whenever things rain or things kind of go off plan a little bit, it's a better memory, it's more of a story, and we're really excited to be here.
Volunteers and Herbst hope the trail users notice the changes.
The other day, digging these holes, the parking lot was completely filled and there was no place for people to park. So that tells you the popularity of the trail, and I think you're going to see as we're here, people are using the trail even when it's raining.
In Joplin, Yana Haudala, KOAM News.
The Frisco Greenway Trail cleanup was one of 3 projects on Thursday. Keller Williams employees volunteered for Red Day projects. They're selected from applications submitted by community organizations. Well, who doesn't love flowers, especially the women in your lives? And with Mother's Day this weekend, we're going live from just one of the many places that you can find a lovely flower arrangement for your mother. And our very own Shannon Becker is at In the Garden in Pittsburg, Kansas. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day to you, Tanya.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're in the garden on East 4th. Oh, yeah, of course. We're on East 4th Street in Pittsburgh. Just as you said, Mother's Day, get that important lady in your life. Not your wife, necessarily. Let the kids do that, see? So, in the garden. Great idea. In fact, they're opening this weekend from 9 until 5:30. On Saturday, they'll close a little bit earlier at 5. Sunday from 1 until 4. While Mother's Day is a special day to celebrate moms, the best thing you can give them, of course, is love. Flowers, breakfast in bed, or a day to relax. You could do that for your wife, perhaps, on behalf of the kids. There are plenty of options for flowers and plants here at In the Garden for all you last-minute shoppers. As I said, on Saturday, they're going to be open from 9 to 5, and Sunday, they're open from 1 until 4.
All right, Shannon, I am curious, do you have any plans for Mother's Day this year?
Oh, my mother, last year, she told me, she said, quit buying me things. She's like, I don't need anything. So I think I'll probably take my mom out to lunch. That'll probably be it.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to check in with you in about 30 minutes, if that's all right. We'll be right back.
I'll be here. I'll be here.
Well, rain or shine, it's always a good time for a barbecue. Keller Williams agents in Joplin stepped away from their daily duties to support the community. On Thursday, they had a barbecue taking orders for $5 lunches of burgers and hot dogs. It's part of the Realty Company's annual Red Day. It takes part every second Thursday of May.
Just to always look for opportunities to give back to where you live. Like I said earlier, give where we live is a big part of who we are at Keller Williams. And so just always looking for those opportunities to pour back into people who make your lives what they are, very important.
All money donated to Keller Williams Red Day went towards Camp Quality, Higher Power Garage, Joplin NALA, and Joplin Trails. Keller Williams agents in Joplin stepped away from their daily duties to support the community. It's part of the Realty Company's annual Red Day. It takes part every second Thursday in May, and some employees visited Camp Quality and Higher Power Garage to do labor work. And on Thursday, the Carthage graduates took a trip down memory lane. Graduates walked through the halls of the elementary school they attended and said hello to some kindergartners. The walk could also have a deeper meaning for some of the graduates.
We think this is a really great tradition that Carthage has, to have these graduates come back, walk through the halls of the elementary schools one more time, get that last bit of closure for Carthage School District as they step forward into what life has to offer for them.
The walk only lasted around 10 minutes, but it's a walk that the kids and graduates could remember forever. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, says Shannon Becker. He's braving the weather to help us close out the week with his big 3 news stories.
And we've got ourselves more thunderstorms on the way after a break this afternoon or this morning. We'll talk about the next 2 rounds of storms and the weekend when we come back. But first, here's another live look from In the Garden in Pittsburgh.
Good morning and welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Shannon Becker. We're in Pittsburgh at In the Garden. Happy Mother's Day to you moms out there. It's time to take a look at the big 3 stories of the week, the most talked about live and local stories. Our number 3 story, something we talked about for the last 3 weeks, a man that was missing since April 25th. His body was located this last week, and family are relieved. Also, 2 people have been arrested, charged with first-degree murder. The Labette County Sheriff says the 2 were married in hopes that they wouldn't have to testify against each other. That story is still developing. Number 3 on our big 3. Our number 2 story, a tragedy on Schifferdecker and 4th Street as a man from Joplin T-bones an ice cream truck. It happened about 12:45 on Wednesday. It was Thursday when Larry Bellamy, 53, passed away of his injuries here in Joplin. Services are to be determined. And our number 1 story, it was big on Monday and Tuesday, talking about the severe weather. Wow. Some damages from Jasper, Missouri, Peggy's Own Restaurant, Joplin, trees on cars, and then also Civil War Arena. This is a really neat thing. The kids from the Latter-day Saints Church went to Civil War Arena to help them pick up all the metal pieces and organize some stuff, so really appreciate them. That's great to see the community supporting Civil War Arena. They hope to be back soon. And then our bonus story of the week. The Joplin Fire Department are building Joplin Fire Station number 7. It's supposed to be finished in October, and right now they need to recruit some people for that station. They'll need about 18 new people to staff an entire fire station, and it is located in the Joplin Industrial Park off of 32nd Street on East 32nd Street. So you can apply now if you go to our website, KOAM News Now. The link is there, the article is there, and you can learn more all about it. They'll pay you while they train you. You don't have to know anything about being a firefighter right now. You just have to be in good physical shape, and you could be a Joplin firefighter. It's a career, right? It's your big 3 stories of the week, live and local. I'm Shannon Becker from Joplin News First. KOAM News Now, and the morning news continues next when we've got birthdays.
Time for some Friday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we're going to begin with Maisley Hernandez, celebrating the big number 2. Happy birthday, Maisley.
All right, Weston Shanholzer turning 3 years old this year. Look at that little cutie there. He's in McCune, Kansas.
And also in McCune, Cash Riddle celebrating birthday number 6 says, "We love you, Bob." Happy birthday, Cash.
All right, pretty eyes. And Kinsley and Keely Cook are celebrating their 6th birthday. Cute little foxes on their sweaters there. In Carthage, Missouri, that'll be Kinsley on the left and Keely on the right. Sweethearts there.
And up to the north in Golden City, we've got Hayden Markley celebrating birthday number 9 with love coming from Mom and Dad. Happy birthday, Hayden.
All right, Jordan Evans is a sweet 16 this year in Springdale, Arkansas. Happy birthday, Jordan.
And Landon Wheat in Parsons celebrating number 17 today with love from Mom, Dad, Ethan, Aiden, and the grandparents.
All right, and what a beautiful family you have there, Mr. Epler. Charlie Epler celebrating another year wiser in Columbus.
And Bob Maley in Fairview celebrating today as well. And it says, "Happy birthday from Mom." Happy birthday, Bob.
All right, up in Frontenac, John Mirando celebrating birthday number 58 this year.
And in Crestline, our neighbors to the south here, Vera Helwig celebrating birthday number 80. Looking great there, Vera. Happy birthday.
All right, and turning 82, also looking wonderful, Miss Joyce Woods in Baxter Springs.
And Rouge Horton celebrating number 4 in Springfield with love from Grandma Judy, Grandpa Jim, and all of your family. Oh, apologies here. It's actually birthday number 6. Birthday number 6. Happy birthday, Rouge.
All right, and Oliver Cavanis celebrating birthday number 3. A little belated birthday wish for you. Birthday was actually yesterday in Neosho with love from Mom, Gigi, Papa, Gage, Aunt Angie, Ariel Hunter, and great-grandma.
And another belated birthday going out to Dorothy Heiser in Pittsburgh, celebrating birthday number 76 yesterday. Happy birthday, Dorothy.
All right, and Gia Carnal. Is that a snakeskin? Ooh.
No, it's a fish.
Oh, that's a fish. Okay. Oh my goodness. It totally is.
It's Friday.
It totally is. Gia is turning 22 years old this year in Erie. I see it now.
It can be easy to miss sometimes. Last but certainly not least, we've got Jimmy Freeman celebrating a birthday in Columbus. And these were great birthdays. Love that list. And we want to continue to celebrate with you. Tanya, how do they do it?
All they have to do is email us their birthday with all the information. Don't forget the name and date to birthdays with an S at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website checking out all the cool things it has to offer to you, we want to make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You'll get special deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for that birthday club today. All right, let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Those showers and storms that rolled through early this morning now well to our east, and still plenty of lightning with them. And that was kind of their signature mark. Only a couple of thunderstorm warnings for Washington and Nowata counties in northeast Oklahoma. The storms remained strong, but they stayed below severe levels with some gusty winds and small hail across the area as they rolled through this morning. But their signature feature this morning, they were very electrical storms. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning with this activity as it moved on through, and it is not our only chance of showers and thunderstorms for today. We had just 2 or 3 hours down the road. Here we are, 9-10 o'clock. Showers and thunderstorms beginning to develop across parts of southeast Kansas, right around Parsons, Coffeyville, and just to the west of Girard. These storms do have the possibility of being strong, maybe low-grade severe, so we'll keep a close eye on that for you. We've got that line of storms continuing through 11 o'clock this morning. And again, strong, maybe severe storms possible with this activity. By about 1 o'clock, though, it's out of here. But it leaves some trailing clouds behind. So right along Kansas-Missouri border and back down into parts of northeast Oklahoma, there's just a cutoff. You go west, you're going to get a little more sunshine, and you're going to get a little warmer. We're talking mid to upper 80s. If you're under the cloud cover, still warm, but low to mid 80s. However, that sunshine is going to set the stage later this afternoon for round 3 of showers and thunderstorms to begin to develop in southeast Kansas. And these, again, could be strong, possibly low-grade severe as they roll through the area. Here we are at 9 o'clock. We've got this line along the I-49 corridor. And then by about 10, 11 o'clock, it is out of here. A few stray showers as we head into Saturday morning. And we'll have another round of storms heading into Saturday evening. Now, we have have a severe threat. It is low, but it's there. We have this low-end tornado risk for a good chunk of the area. Threat for some small hail and maybe some gusty winds out there as well. The worst of the severe weather is expected to stay to our north. MoDOT camera, 32nd and range line. We are looking good. Roads still on the wet side after a nice soaking rain from those storms. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. Here's those clouds slowly beginning to clear. You can see a little daylight coming in out there. 64 in Joplin. Variable breeze at 4 miles an hour. Across the area, 63 Fort Scott, 64 Pittsburgh Parsons, 65 Chetopa, 67 Miami and Neosho. We get our morning started. Could have some gusty winds out there outside of any of the thunderstorm chances, and we'll start to see those scattered thunderstorms moving in by late morning. Temperatures pushing to the mid-70s. We'll have another complete look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a look and see what's happening on CBS Mornings.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award-winning actor that's Ben Platt will be with us in studio to talk about his return to Broadway and the revival of Parade. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
There's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Changes are coming to the Joplin Police Department's National Night Out. National Night Out is usually one single event in August, and now they're extending it. The department will host several events throughout the summer. Officials say the changes will allow the police department to reach more communities within Joplin, considering National Night Out is typically held in one area of the city. Northeastern Oklahoma A&M College seniors graduated on Thursday, and for many it was like any other graduation commencement. But for nursing students, Thursday's events had an extra flair. The school hosted a pinning ceremony for the graduating nurses. It marks an important milestone in their journey to fully becoming registered nurses. And for one graduate, it's more than just a job. Students of Carl Junction's School Launch Club partnered with the Joplin Philanthropic Society to present a check to Carl Junction Bright Futures. The students raised $5,000. The funds were matched 2-to-1 by the Joplin Philanthropic Society for $10,000, totaling $15,000. The funds will go towards addressing the needs of families and children in need. And some Carthage graduates took a trip down memory lane. The graduates walked through the halls of the elementary school they attended and said hello to some kindergartners. It's a tradition for graduates to come back and walk the halls one last time before transitioning to the next step in life. The walk only lasted about 10 minutes, but it's a walk that the younger kids and the graduates could remember forever. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got ourselves some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances later this morning into the early afternoon. That activity pauses. We'll see highs low to mid 80s, but out west we're talking mid to upper 80s. Lows tonight upper 60s, and then we've got more shower and thunderstorm chances. And both of these additional rounds could be strong, possibly severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. More evening showers tomorrow, scattered storms on Mother's Day, scattered storms Monday, and then cooler under partly cloudy skies as we kick off the next week.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making chocolate peanut butter twist in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings, where they'll have live coverage from the southern border where a crisis is looming in the wake of the expiration of Border Control Policy Title 42. That's next on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, KOAM's Shannon Becker talks to John Harrison from In the Garden in Pittsburgh to help give you a few last-minute ideas for Mother's Day.
And he's pulling double duty this day with another round of his big three stories of the week, just in case you missed him the first time around. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us for now. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and we will see you right back here at 5 a.m. on Monday morning.
And we're going to see you again today at noon.